Okay, guys, good day. We're going to cover week 6 and week 7 in this course. Sorry, in this slideshow. So let's get into it. This one's short. It's not too many slides, only 10 slides. So this one would be easy for you guys. And I know you guys love easy. Okay, so intellectual property, also known as IP. What is it? It's a category of property that includes intangible creations of the human intellect. Intangible means stuff that you can't touch. Tangible is stuff you can touch. Intangible is what you cannot touch. So it includes intangible creations of the human intellect. So if a human mind created it, that's what intellectual property um, is basically a intangible creation of the human mind. There are many types of intellectual property. Some countries recognize more than others. There are four main types. You got copyrights, patents, trademarks, and trade secrets. Okay. All right. So copyright. Copyright is a right to copy. This means that the original creators of products and anyone they give authorization to are the only ones with exclusive right to reproduce the work. Copyright law gives creators of original material the exclusive right to further use and duplicate the material for a given amount of time, at which point the copyrighted item becomes public domain. So examples, copyrights are used to protect stuff like books, poems, plays, songs, artwork, films, etc. Okay, so that's what a copyright does. No one else is allowed to copy it. If you have a copyright on your any type of work that you put out, any type of artwork or anything, then no one else is able to copy it. What are patents? So is granting of a property right by an independent authority to an inventor. So you see it, I don't know if you guys watch Shark Tank or if you guys watch Dragon's Den. Basically, if someone comes up with a new idea, like a new product, they always ask, do you have a patent on this product? Which means, is this product protected? Can anyone else duplicate it easily? The grant provides the inventor exclusive rights to the patented process, design, or invention for a designated period in exchange for a comprehensive disclosure of the invention. So what you basically do is to get a patent approved or any of that stuff, you would have to actually give all your, let's say you created a new keyboard for a computer, and this keyboard has never been seen before, and it's like completely new, and you want to you want to patent it so no one can copy it, duplicate it, and sell it, replicate it, and sell it. So basically, what happens is you send all your drawings, all your sketches, all your dimensions, everything, all the blueprints of making that keyboard over to these guys. And then they look at every single aspect, and then they give you a patent depending on your product and the type of blueprints you guys have. So there's a lot that goes into it. I'm not too familiar with what exactly the criteria is to get the patent, but I do know that in order to protect your actual physical asset that you build or design or something, you have to get a patent. Um, so there's three types of patents. So utility patent, right, is covers anyone who invents a new or useful process, article of manufacture, machine, or composition of matter. Design patent includes an original, new, or ornamental design for a manufactured product. So basically, if you'll get a design patent if you take something and you make it better, you'll get a design patent. Plant patents are goes to anyone who discovers, produces, or invents a new kind of plant capable of reproduction. Okay, so those are the three types of patents. Plant patents are if you create a new flower or create whatever, you can get a patent on that. Or a new plant, you can create a patent on that. Trademarks. So unlike patents, a trademark protects words and design elements that identify the source of a product. So brand names, corporate logos. A service mark is similar except that it safeguards the provider of a service instead of a tangible good. Same thing. Some examples of trademark infringement are fairly straightforward. You'll probably run into trouble if you try to bottle a beverage and call it Coca-Cola, or even use the famous wave from its logo, since both have been protected for decades. Okay, so trademarks, anything that has like a word, or like if you say McDonald's, the name's a trademark, and I'm loving it, it's trademarked. It's all protected. So a trade secret basically is any practice or process of a company that is generally not known outside of the company. So Information considered a trade secret gives a company a competitive advantage over its competitors and is often a product of internal research and development. So, for example, stuff like the Google algorithm, right? Google will never share their algorithm. That's protected by trade secrets. It's their intellectual property and it's protected by trade secrets. So they're never gonna let anybody come in and tamper with their algorithm. That the reason Google is what it is because their algorithm is flawless and it's amazing, and they continue to perfect that algorithm. So those trade secrets are they're protected, right? Coca-Cola ingredients, New York Times bestseller list criteria. So how do you become a bestseller? The criteria for it, New York Times keeps that as a trade secret to themselves. They won't tell you what they look for, right? So those are trade secrets. So international agreements on intellectual property. So how are you going to protect yourself if you are trading? Like let's say you manufacture something in Canada and you get the intellectual property for Canada. How do you protect yourself from other countries replicating it? So something called a TRIPS agreement. It came into effect January 1st, 1995. Is to date the most comprehensive multilateral agreement on intellectual property. So areas of intellectual property that it covers are copyrights, trademarks, patents, and trade secrets, like we just talked about. Their three main features of the agreement are this: standards. So it outlines the structure of the agreement, what standards that people have to meet, what they the complete outline of the agreement. And then enforcement, so procedures on how to enforce the intellectual property rights. So let's just say that um, let's just say that um, somebody from China is trying to replicate something in Canada. You can use this TRIPS agreement to go in there and enforce, hey, listen, you can't be doing this stuff, right? You can't be taking our stuff. And then also the third main feature is dispute settlement. So let's just say that there's a something is, you get into an actual lawsuit with this company in China and you're trying to sue them. They come in between and they help with um, help with settling disputes between members of the World Trade Organization, which is there's a lot of people, a lot of countries part of the World Trade Organization. So, what's Competition Law, Competition Act? So, Competition Act is a federal law governing most business conduct in Canada. So basically, competition law, it's in the name, right? Like it's just a law that governs the competition that goes around in the world. So it contains both criminal and civil provisions aimed at preventing anti-competitive practices of the market. Its purpose, so the purpose of competition law is to maintain and encourage competition in Canada in order to promote the efficiency and adaptability of the Canadian economy, expand opportunities for Canadian participation in world markets, ensure that small and medium-sized enterprises have equitable opportunity to participate in the Canadian economy, and provide consumers with competitive prices and product choices. Now, you'll see this. This is very important in places that have, in countries that have monopolies, right? They'll have companies that they just monopolize the entire market. And when you monopolize the entire market, basically it means you have control of the entire market. So if you're a company that, for example, let's say Bell and Rogers, they're just basically the only two that the two big ones that can offer internet services and stuff like that. Um, what ended up happening is because of the Competition Act in Canada, Canada said, no, you guys are not the only people. Even though you own all the towers, you own all the infrastructure, new companies can be formed under you, and you will have to give them a price that's low enough for them to be competitive, so others can also benefit from this. So you'll see a lot of other internet service providers, but they're running off the Bell and the Rogers towers and their connections. So basically, the Competition Law and Act is to prevent monopolies from taking over industries and creating jobs and opportunities for others. The history of Competition Law Act. So the history of competition law refers to attempts by governments to regulate competitive markets, like we said, for goods and services, leading up to the modern competition or antitrust laws around the world today. The earliest records traces back to the efforts of Roman legislators to control price fluctuations and unfair trade prices. So let's just say that you're a monopoly, right? And let's say you're the only one only company in Canada that manufactures bread. You can set the price on bread because there's no other competition. If you want the price of bread to be $900 a loaf, you make it $900 a loaf. You make a ton of money. And if there's no other competition, who else is going to be able to provide that? So people will be having to pay $900 a loaf, or they won't even be buying the bread. So the more competition there is, the more people in so basically the government, what they did was they make sure things like this don't happen, so that there's fair prices that are set. There's competition in the market, which means that people are competing on service, quality, right? Let's just say you're the only person in the market. You could do whatever you want. Literally, you could do anything that you want and still be competitive and still have and still make money and still do whatever you set the terms, right? So competition law came into effect because people with too much power were taking advantage of it, right? So throughout the Middle Ages in Europe, kings and queens repeatedly cracked down on monopolies, including those created through state legislation. Increasingly, the focus moved to international competition enforcement and globalized economy. All right, guys, so that's basically it for week 6 and week 7. So that's basically the end for week 6 and week 7. I'll see you guys in class. And like I said, today was a nice and easy day. You guys learned a lot in just 11, 12 minutes. So good job, and I'll see you guys in class.